But oh wow, Chinese Mongols. These are two top tier civs, guys. Lock in, lock in. All right. We might make a YouTube commentary out of this. Hello, guys, and welcome to another game. Those watching on YouTube, we are live on Twitch. And we've got a really nice matchup here, Chinese versus Mongols. And I figured, what better idea than to make it a YouTube commentary? So let's see what we can do with this matchup. It's fun for a YouTube commentary because these are basically two of the best civilizations on 1v1 Arabia at the moment, Mongols and Chinese. The other one in there is probably something like Georgians. You might consider maybe Mayans, maybe Khmer. But I would say Mongols and Chinese might easily be top 3 1v1 Arabia civs right now. And we're going up against each other. So I made a video a little while ago where it was like the easiest matchup ever. Mongols versus Celts. I was Mongols, opponent was Celt. And that actually turned out to be kind of an intense game. But let's see how it plays out when we both have really strong civilizations. Now, I do want to talk about a few things here of the matchup. I'm going to analyze the matchup in depth, and also I'll walk you through my play, give you guys some in-depth commentary on what I'm going to go for, what I'm seeing, and all the good stuff. Just has to survive the Chinese start here. It's always a little tricky, not too hard. But I think we did a good job. So, first thing to note, you need 7 on food for the Chinese. Second thing to note is that the Chinese get off to, generally speaking, a slower start than the opponent. But in compensation for that slower start, we also get off to having an extra 2 villagers, basically from the start of the game. So if we can maintain that 2 villager lead. Now, a villager on average gathers like, let's say, something like 30 res a minute. Something like that, it's fair. Or like 20 res, 25. You get different numbers, but I would say on average, something like 20 to 30 res a minute. So basically, every minute that I have a 2 vill advantage, I get a 50 resource lead on my opponent. So without going too deep into the numbers, all you have to understand is that the more time spent that we go even against Mongols, the better it is for me. So they get up to a better start, but as the game goes on, I get more and more advantages. However, the matchup flips in post-imp. The Mongols have a better post-imp than Chinese. Magadai fully upgraded, insane. Onagers, siege onagers with Jill, fully upgraded, amazing, really, really strong. When it comes to those type of late game powerhouses, I have to really watch out. So my best approach is to win in the mid game. All right. So I predict to win this game. If I do win, I'm not guaranteed. Sorokuma, very strong opponent. The #1 player from Taiwan, in fact. He could easily beat me in this game with the Mongols. But if I do win this game, I expect it to be, I would say mid Castle Age to early Imperial Age. All right, remember that. Mid Castle Age, early Imperial Age. We'll revisit this topic at the end of the game. So now let's talk about holding the early game. What can we do to hold the Mongols from their early power spike? You might be wondering why they have an early power spike. They get faster hunt, way faster hunt. So they're getting way more food in the early game, which leads to a faster feudal, which leads to them getting, strong pressure. So to hold that, I like to just wall up a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Don't go for any huge walls, because then you're just setting yourself up to fall very far behind. You will get a much faster castage and you're going to get cooked. So walling everything, not always the right call. And usually it's not. But in this case, what I could go for is, just a few scouts. A few scouts, play defensively, a few walls, and then work on the full walls in feudal age to make sure I stay safe. And that seems like a really good strategy. All right. I'm going to opt for 2 lumber camps here. Oof. That woodland is not as good as I thought it was. Okay. Thought it outstretched a bit more here. It might be a little hard to protect. I kind of regret my decision already, but it should be fine. There's a chance for a wall. I don't want to go for it just because I don't want to embarrass myself. There's no reason. It's too early in the day for that. A couple more on wood. Make sure I'm able to afford my barracks stable with a few walls as well. And there's the faster Mongol uptime. But I'm not worried because I expected it, you know? When you expect something, when it comes your way, you don't panic. Alright, I'm gonna go barracks here in the front. Stone is a bit hard to protect. Okay. He's gonna go for men at arms. That's the way he's gonna try to pressure his advantage. We're gonna lose some of those most likely here. Alright. Okay, 2 bills down. Kind of okay. That's the 2 bills advantage I had, so this fell apart very fast. And it was that woodline. I knew it was a mistake. I'll still commit to a stable, I think. Because I'm going to need to bounce back and get some bills. I can't just stay. Normally Archer opening counters these bad boys, but because I already took damage, there's no point. I need a scout opening to try to get control of the map again. And I'm going to have to do something radical here. I'm going to have to go forward and make a tower here to stop the bleeding. It's the only way. If I don't do that, I will continue bleeding. Yeah, just trying to survive. I always fight back with the bills if I can. That's actually a mistake from him. And yeah, this tower is a good play. It looks weird, but it's definitely a good play. He might even be forward, yeah. He's forward with something. Fight back with bills. What an intense game, yeah? But yo, you can see that he's reading the matchup very well. Because he's deciding that he wants to put pressure in the early game, which is the correct call. So he's doing the right thing. And there is a forward as well. I really didn't expect that. But as I said, it makes sense given the circumstances. So this is good. I hung on to this woodline. It also stops him from getting a free access to my berries to my other woodline. I have a stable, which lets me get control. Remember, my game plan here is to buy as much time as possible. But because I lost 2 vills, I also kind of have to go attack him a little bit as well. Because I no longer have that Chinese, 2 vill lead. I lost that privilege, sadly. So advantage him so far. Let's see what I can do to turn things around. Skipping Horse Scholar. Because I had a bad start. It's, I would say, more of a luxury. If you can't get it, don't try to force it. You put yourself in a bad position if you do that. Alright. I see him 4 on gold, which means he's planning to produce archers from 1 range. And he only has 1 range, so now I'm going to go skirms. See that little detail? And if he decides to go skirms to match me going skirms myself, he will fall behind because he starts floating gold. You see that? So we put him in checkmate, in a mini checkmate, that he has to produce archers, and we go skirms. I'm going to stop making scouts because I see him with a couple spears. And his map is honestly pretty hard to raid with scouts. So I'm going to cancel the scouts. And instead what we're going to do is we're going to just try to go up the castle as fast as possible. Now, it's not like Chinese only get the 2 villager advantage. And if you lose that, you lose the game. Obviously, Chinese are a better civ than Mongols in mid-castlage because you get like the cheaper techs. You get your TCs that, have extra population. You have a few things going for you. Now, this guy, 1 week spear, so we can clear that up. We'll make a few skirms, but I have to be a little careful. The 4 on gold can also be a fast castle, actually, into step lancers. So maybe skirms is not the right call. I just realized. So hold on. With these 2 skirms, I'm gonna move forward then. And I know, or I got this adaptation. Yeah. Okay. So he gave it away by wasting that army. Now I know, and also not putting a flag in the range. Now I know he's not gonna do archers. He wants to do castlage into step lancers. So what I have to do is pressure him as much as I can now, and then rush to castlage, so I'm not too far behind. Alright. Question from the chat. You mentioned full walls and never made them. Yeah, I had to completely adapt. I also mentioned that I'd stay safe and have a 2 vill lead. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And this is obviously my plan B right now, which is try to pressure my opponent and adapt to the situation. I no longer have that 2 vill lead with Chinese, so full walling doesn't really make sense. Remember, the whole point was full wall, stay ahead, life is good. Now it's like I'm kind of taking a bit more risk because I have to. I took some damage early on. So these two scrims, I'm hoping to force a reaction, mainly. I know I don't need them, he's not making archers. So yeah, forcing a reaction. And this is fantastic. This will keep him in feudal age for a little longer, hopefully. Because I don't want him getting... If he gets too fast of a castle time, it's really bad. This trade, I just want a faster castle. I'll run around with the scouts a bit more. 3 spears, wow. Okay, we're up. Cool. So now that we're up, actually now we can go for the walls. Now it makes sense.
Congrats, champ. Dave out chat.
Yeah, horse collar. There we go. This is excellent because I think I'm keeping him kind of locked in feudal age for a little bit longer, which is great. I'm gonna get all my techs. Remember, every time I get a technology, right? That's Chinese pulling ahead in a little bit of resources because he's gonna have to match that technology one way or another. And so now if I just wall up, go 2 stable knights, have the towers protect me, I can't make a TC without mining stone. What I would say here is that you could go mine stone right away, but I don't like doing that. Instead, what I'm gonna do is do a different approach. Instead of adding a TC, I'm gonna go for hard pressure with knights or camels. And honestly, camels can be great in this matchup, especially if he wants to go something like step lancers. I could play towards light cav as well, but I don't really like light cav or step lancers. I'm not going to commit to it. But it is an option. It's still open. Oh, I walled it somehow. That's a miracle. Wow. Oh! That's bad. Okay. Adapt. That's horrible, though. Viper would have got that. Oh my goodness. Everything's going wrong. It's actually completely fine still, though. Ah, okay. I'll have to abandon this gold. That's basically as bad as it can get, but let's continue playing. Monastery. I'm gonna still like try to stick to my game plan. Like, okay, get back to gold. I have my camels now. I'm gonna try to lock him in. This is a good way to get compensation. Obviously, what I did there looks very fancy, and it looks nice, but it's very important as well. Because I need to lock these guys in, make sure that I get some value. Alright, now I'm gonna go light cap just because I don't have gold for camel. So another concession. It's all I make these days. He might go for this build. He might get it actually. He gets it. Alright, that's enough. We did get the faster castle. So let's use faster castle. I can't get a village. I'm not on stone. Get a market. I can't do damage because he's walled, unless... I'm not the only guy getting unlucky. Very nice. Send all the army there. So when damage is not possible, and booming is not possible, Relic is what you look for. And I made an amazing Patreon video the other day, actually, where I talked about how to get all the relics pretty much every time. And also some cool relic trick where you basically know where the relic is, where all the relics are, all 5. But only knowing where your opponent TC is. So from the start of the game with Vietnamese, I can name all 5 relics on the map. I'm going to use those kind of tricks to my advantage here. And pick up the relics while I have the map control. And this hole is the cherry on top. Right? This is a little bit of good fortune, which I'll take. Now, the next step here is figuring out what he's doing. I'm a bit scared he's doing cav archers. In that case, it would be a bit tricky. It looks like, okay, it looks like just some light cav and spears. Honestly, he's kind of playing passively. I think I'm going to match that while just taking relics. That should be enough to win the game. So I'm not going to try to force into the guy who's playing passive. That's kind of a bad call usually. So if I just start developing my own economy while having full map, that's pretty good, man. Sign me up for that. And yeah, still getting some harassment as well. Probably worth getting some tech, but I'm not really sure which one I want. Alright, it's gonna be a relic in that corner. If it's not in this corner, it's gonna be a little higher up. But I think it's going to be in the corner. There we go. Relic in that corner. There we go. And now 2 relics on the bottom, probably. And I'm going to take another TC in the front. So this is good. I would say the game is more or less even now. We force the monk. But if I can get the relics, that's my win condition. Because I can win a late game in Chinese versus Mongols only if I have the 5 relics. Or at least 4. Otherwise, Mongols get so many advantages over the Chinese in late game. Like, it's not even funny how bad the late game is. If he gets to all his tech, right? The best tool I have, to be honest with you, is actually heavy camo. So what I'm going to do is try to tech towards heavy camo a little bit more. I'm just checking this side to make sure there's no relic. I don't think so, though. Okay, there is. Nice. Good thing I checked. There's going to be 1 there and then 1 on the bottom then. Okay, good. So 1 here. Take that. And 1 on the bottom. Excellent. This is fantastic. Okay. So now I have my win conditions set in place. And remember what we talked about. It's like Chinese mid-castle age, early imp. That's their strongest point. Just because, you know, a lot of the techs you get at discounts around those times. Mongols don't really get anything special around those times. That's the time for me to strike. So how do I want to strike? Do I want to add a 4th DCE and boom? That doesn't seem good. That seems like it'll take me to a late game. I feel like that's bad, right? So instead, let's add some camels here. I'm going to add camels. I'm going to look to go for a castle drop. He's going to go for this relic on here on the bottom. Ooh. Good gameplay. That's good gameplay from him. I'm not even mad. I'll lose this monk as well. Send him my light cap. Yeah, I'm going to mass my camels here and really try to fight for these relics. And meanwhile, I'm going to mine some stone and we can go for a forward castle if I get control of the map. If not, I'll just go for a castle in the center of the map. And that's also fine. I'm going to commit to this. I'll lose the camel, but I'll take the monk with me. Here we go. I don't know why he's taking these fights. I'm not going to convert because that alerts him. He's already misplaying. Don't need to alert him. Let's find the relic on the bottom. There's surely one, unless he took it. Alright, now we're going to aim for forward castle. Just remember, getting all these techs, I'm getting them at a discount. We build up into that early imp. This is a good time to look for the win. Looking for the win, we do that with a forward castle. It's probably the best way to do that. Not to overdo it, but I do have a Patreon video on that as well. Not to overdo it. But I have to let people know. Like, I can't just be putting in the work on those videos and not tell people about it. So he took the relic on the bottom, so I only have... Oh, he took the one on the top, so he has 2 relics. So I don't have relics as the win condition anymore. That's a good play from him, honestly. That's a good play from him. So now I don't have relics as a win condition. I'm not going late game. No way. So we're going to go forward castle for sure. So what you do is we're going to mass our camels. Go for the forward castle. Right here, as far forward as possible. He knows it's coming. He's gonna try to stop it. It's not successful. Got my camel back. He's panicking a little. Cancel my upgrade, I don't need it. Go up to him. Oh, the camel's done. Camel's toast. Once you're sure he can't stop it, you can go up to him. And then we go back to making army. And that's how we get the win in early imp. Alright. See, he has a castle. I'm 1 step ahead. Imperial Age is already here. Now, because it's the Shreb War, I have to make my way to a second castle immediately as well. We're gonna get fletching on the castle. I don't really need camels anymore, because it's gonna be about the Treb War, alright? So what I need to do is get myself another castle somehow, and we do that by getting onto some stone. Now I could consider a 4th TC, alright? Not bad, but because I'm so scared of going to late game, I'm not going to go for 4th TC, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit to even more pressure, whatever that may look like. So now I have to think of how do I get more pressure than this? I already have a castle forward. I already want a second castle. Bodkin's good. Let's go for heavy camel, so that I can dive underneath his castle, and if he's got Magadai, or some light cav or step lancers or whatever, the camel can just deal with that, and then I can pressure and win the Treb War. It makes sense, very logical. Camel counters most of what Mongols can make. I already have a big mass of them. Going heavy camel is, you know, logical, makes sense, smooth. So let's go for that one. And these are all things you have to think about when you're in game as well. Can be hard to do so, but I hope that I can show you my process and that can make it easy on you guys as well. Obviously, this is stuff I've learned over thousands of games. It's not going to come so natural the first time. I need my second castle to be ready here. This is a bit risky because if he's up faster to Imp, then it could be bad. But I don't care. If he's up faster to Imp and he wins, you're better. It's fine. I'm not going late game. I'm going to commit to this castle age push. So with that in mind, let's just go for the castle. I don't mind. Let's see what he has for me. He's trying crossbow. Counter the camels. Pretty good idea, actually. So in that case, I can go light cav. But I still will commit to camels. He's up faster to Imp. It's going to be fireworks. Let's see it. First Treb. Second castle is mainly to make Trebs. I'm going to prioritize those first. I'm going to even cancel Vil production because the whole game is here. No need to make another Vil. That won't pay back in time. The game is literally going to end in the next few minutes. So no need to make villagers at this point. Save the food all for camels. If you don't need food, sell it. Alright. And I'll resume villages later when I feel like I don't need the food. Pull back a little bit. I'm going to do something cheeky. I'm going to use this castle to actually hit that palace head wall. And I'm going to use that, be a little cheeky here. Let's go from one castle to the next. He didn't see me. And I go out. Didn't fall for it. Go back in. Gonna try to repair the castle. He has 2 castles as well. Alright, we're gonna go back to making vills now. It's okay, I have another cheeky play. We're gonna use the Trebs to break a house now. Alright, we're in. Camels are not great against Arbalest. He's very smart to make those, but they are good enough to snipe the Trebs, which is what I need for the Treb War to be successful. And then after that, we just spam Lycav. Amazing. And in a game where he played a very smart, very strategic option of the crossbows, us hitting the right timing was good enough. Now we just spam some light cav. And now, how do we finish the game? Let's get ourselves stronger. So let's get to 200 pop. And we have full map control now. So let's start abusing that with castles everywhere. While I raid him to death, I'm going to set up castles everywhere. And he will lose his castles. And then he will just stare down that forward castle. Literally, he can't move without that castle spotting everything. So we have raids, we have map control. And he has to eat that forward castle the entire game. And it's GG. He knows it's coming. It's absolutely GG. Look at that. Early Imp was the win. We called it from minute 1. This was the window we wanted to hit. And how many things went wrong? We lost 2 vills at the opening with the men at arms. All right. We didn't really find much damage on the follow-up. We didn't even take all 5 relics like we wanted to. Why? Because my opponent is also a pro player. Shout out Sorakuma, very strong guy. So I can't always get perfect scenario. But what's interesting is that despite not getting a perfect scenario, we just adapt from one thing to the next. Okay, it's not perfect. Let's do the next best thing. Hell, I didn't even get faster imp. He was faster imp by a few seconds, and I almost like felt like we could lose. But because I was so sure that I have to go for the push in early imp because, you know, the late game is not very good, I felt like it was the right call. And by doing that, I forced him into a bad unit, into crossbow. So now I can go into a late game versus crossbow. Mongol Arbalest, nothing special. They're missing the last armor. So I can go into a late game against them. If I just chilled at home, didn't go for the forward castle, I wouldn't be seeing Arbalest. I would be seeing, what? Mangadai. Mangadai, maybe Onagers, maybe Hisar. And that would be very tricky to deal with. So hopefully this commentary was interesting. Very, very fun game too. The best civs on 1v1 Arabia at the moment. If you guys want to learn a new civ, highly recommend Chinese or Mongols, but they're a bit hard to play, a bit tricky. But feel free to go ahead and check them out. And yeah, last thing, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. And if you guys want to catch us live on Twitch, come on down.
Masterclass is here.
Exactly. That's what's on Twitch, masterclasses. But the real masterclasses are on Patreon as well. So if you guys want to learn how to play the game at a higher level, if you guys want to get better, if you guys want to impress your friends, if you want to have more fun with the game, learn it to a higher degree, check out my Patreon for the exclusive guides and videos that are not found anywhere else on the internet. And also check out the live stream, links to both in the description below. And as always, have a good rest of your day and stay safe. See you in the next video. Peace.